eye openings and maybe a little mouth opening, and I want it to be very kind of alien and mechanical. As far as what I do, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. You can make your own pattern or come up with a cool design. It's really up to you. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and select this sphere, which is serving as our head. And right now it is a primitive. And you can see that we do have this topology flowing in this direction. And I want to use that as a base to create a sort of a, you can see the kind of a blue slit that we have here, and then also the mouth opening. So the first step would be, once we've got, make sure that this is the way that we want it, let's go ahead and make this editable. And now I can come in and start to select some of these polygons. So I'm just going to select some all the way across here. And then we can kind of see where those are. So what we have on our in our artwork is I think one above that, and so I'm just going to select up here. I'm going to deselect everything else, and I want it centered, and so here's our center line. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on that side, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think that should be centered there. Now anytime that we have a round surface like this and we want to make a nice sharp cut into it, it's a good idea to do, instead of just extruding it in, we want to do an extrude inner, and that'll give us a nice ridge, a nice ring of faces around here to hold that shape when we smooth it. So we'll go ahead and do an extrude inner and just do a small amount, and then we'll do our extrude and we'll push that into the surface. And I'm actually just going to push it in a little bit and then go to move and move it straight back in, so it's not so much sitting down in, but it's more, we can kind of see it a little bit better. Now we also want this back part in here to be nice and tight, so let's use our knife and add some edge loops in here. So we'll add an edge loop right in here, and we want this inner part to be nice and sharp, so we'll add an edge loop right in there. Now to see what that's going to look like, we'll add a subdivision surface and grab our sphere, drop it inside there, and so you can see it gives us a nice sharp rounded off opening, which is cool. Now I also want to be able to select the inside of that, and so we can actually use selection tags to do that, and we'll use those, we'll actually use those a lot later, but let's go ahead and create one. So what I want to do is select all of those original faces, just the ones that are kind of representing the back of the eye, and just make sure that that's all we have selected. And now all we have to do is go to select, set selection, and then over here under this polygon selection tag, you can see this triangle's been added here. I'm going to name the selection. We'll just call this eyes, or eye actually. All right, now let's do the same thing for the mouth area. So I'm just going to randomly select an area down here, and let's take a look and see where that is in relationship to there. So okay, so we need to kind of constrain it to this area here. It doesn't have to match exactly, as long as it's in the general area. Okay, I'm going to make mine a little bit wider, so I've got a little bit more room to work with. Let's do an extrude inner once again, something like that. Now we'll do an extrude, and we'll do this the exact same way we did the other one. So we'll kind of push that in. We can do it again instead of doing it using the knife. If you just do another extrude, it has the exact same effect. So we could have done it the same way there as well. Just extruded it a tiny bit. Or you can use the knife. So lots of different ways to get to the same spot. And then you can go in and create your mouth shape. Okay, now this one's a little bit more square. If you want a little bit more rounded, or if you want it to be a little bit narrower, you can just use a different polygon selection. You can also, if you want to, go in and shape this a little bit. Just be careful because this is along a sphere. And so if you do too much shaping on this, you're going to start to affect the surface shape. And so I don't really want to hit it too much, but I'll go in and round it off a little bit. And then we can go in and using the same technique here, we can select those, polygons just on the back and make that another selection tag. So we'll go to select, set selection, and you want to make sure that you don't have this one selected, otherwise it'll overwrite that. So set selection, and we'll call this mouth. And so with those on there, all we have to do now is, double click on the selection tag and it automatically selects those particular polygons, but we can also use it to do some cool stuff with materials as well. All right, so once we've got that detail added to the head, the next thing we'll do is